Hello and welcome to Chill with Caddell. My name is Emma Caddell and I will be your host. Today I will be joined by our three lovely guests to discuss the development of using film, a tattoo shop and student finance struggles. First up, we are going to dive into the evolution of film and how it has developed over time. Is it a lost medium? Let's find out.
What's your name?
Jim McGinn.
Jim again. Nice to meet you. How long have you been in the photography industry?
Well, in the industry, I suppose, from when I graduated, which would have been 1988.
What is it you do here at Ulster University?
I'm a technical instructor. Along with my colleague Earl, we would kind of just keep things running. Earl deals with equipment and maintenance, and I would deal with a lot of the instruction and that kind of delivery.
It's a bit dark now, do you mind if we
I'm used to it.
How would you say the experience of the photographer has changed over your career?
Well, it's changed dramatically. Whenever I was a student, digital was being talked about. So all through my college time, it was film. And the thing about film, which is easy to forget, is that you're not getting any feedback. You're taking the photographs blind, so you're relying on your technical skills to make sure you've got the correct exposure, that it's focused correctly, that you've composed it correctly. You have no feedback until you get back to the lab and get it processed or get it developed or whatever. Whereas digital, people are actively using the digital screen to take the photographs, and if they don't like it, they just take another one and they keep taking pictures until they're happy with it.
That works well with my next question. Do you think there's been any drawbacks to the whole digitalisation of the industry, and if there's anything you miss about the old ways of doing things?
Well, although they are the old ways, I mean, people are still, especially our first years, are very keen to use film. Well, I don't use film. I stopped using film as soon as the quality of DSLRs matched what film could do, because I'm not wedded to the process. I'm wedded to the idea of what the camera can do in the decisive moment.
I've found a similar thing in that, like, it just forces you to think, especially with the cost of it nowadays, you know, that it's like, don't just, snap away as you would with, and really just appreciate the moment as well.
Yeah, digital has become very promiscuous.
Do you think it's gotten any harder to find work as a photographer now that just the absolute proliferation of digital, now that everyone's got a high quality camera in their pocket that you can just snap away on,
It definitely has. It used to be a lot of photographers who went through the same kind of teaching experience and going to a respected college and graduating, and they would have an automatic revenue generating system by becoming a wedding photographer.
Right.
And the year before last, a friend got married and he just chose this girl based on her portfolio. She had absolutely no education in photography, but she took great photographs.
Yeah.
So here's this young woman who's made a career out of taking great wedding photographs, and our graduates are fighting people like that. Yeah. They've got the experience and the knowledge and the expertise, but this young woman is doing a fantastic job. So it has affected the marketplace.
What are your thoughts for the future of film, especially with Fuji dropping out of the manufacturing industry, and then Kodak now has obviously a monopoly on the colour film market?
I'm not anti-film, but I see that the whole history of photography has been driven by technology improvements, and we're just in the midst of a whole technological era now with AI, for instance. So I think, already there's a hybrid version, so people shoot film. The first thing they do is scan it after it's processed, and then it's digital.
Yeah.
What my little joke there is, will you be writing your dissertation with a quill? Why are you so obsessed with this old technology? Why not embrace the new technology? Anyway, there you go. That's the future. I'm not pessimistic about the future of photography. I'm pessimistic about the future of film, and I think eventually it'll become so esoteric that it'll only be the rich that can afford to buy film and paper.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
What an insightful look into the evolution of using film. For more information, I'm joined with Moira, and they're going to discuss with us a bit further about film as an art form. Hello Moira, how are we today?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Good, good. Welcome to the show. So what made you decide to study photography?
I think it was always a kind of love for observing and taking time to find nice things in the normal everyday that, sometimes we'll get lost in. But I think photography is kind of the ideal way of capturing that. Some people do it through film, some people do it through poetry, literature, but I do it through camera.
Very, very interesting. And do you feel that film has become a lost art form?
I think in certain respects it has. Commercially anyway, industry practices, the default is digital when it comes to, fashion and marketing, for example. It's a no-brainer, but in terms of gallery, in terms of more creative outlets, I definitely still think it has a place in our time, if you will.
Class. And do you feel that there's less jobs for photography students and for, you know, people in the industry itself?
I don't think there's a lack of jobs. I think there's a lack of paid jobs. I mean, speaking from personal experience, I have a lot of jobs that aren't paid, and it's difficult to get people to understand, the work that goes behind the camera. There's so much rather than just taking the photo. You have to process, you have to upload, download. But yeah, I think there's definitely a lack of understanding from a lot of customers' points of view as well. Mm-hmm. But I think it has to do a lot with time as well. I think it's something that'll get easier with time. The more you perfect your craft and update your portfolio and stuff. But I think it's a learning curve and a step up. Yeah. But yes,
most certainly. And do you feel that, with respect to paid jobs in particular, do you think that will get better over time?
I think it'll come with time, yes, and more understanding from our perspective as well, in educating the whole, the whole industry in terms of the front end customers, the whole process of what goes behind this one photo you get delivered to your door at the end of the day. Yeah. But I think it is something that'll get easier with time and education from our part as well. So, yeah.
And I've got a very difficult question for you.
That's good.
Do you prefer film photography or digital photography?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I started off in digital, but I think I'm a film convert, to be honest. I mean, there's so much behind it. There's so much, love, care, and time away from a screen as well. And it's just another way of self-expression, of finding the nuggets of gold in everyday life. But I think that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. And do you find, what is it particularly that you prefer, film over digital?
I think for me a massive thing is time spent away from a screen and the unplugging, if you will, from our so digital lives. But I think it's for me, it's the process of slowing down and taking time with friends as well to do it, and building your communities and having fun with it. So yeah, I think it's probably it.
Yeah, it's all a bit of crack. 100%, I agree. And just as a little challenge question for you, you talk about how you prefer film. Yeah. Why film over digital? What is it about digital that you don't like?
I think it's the instantaneous nature of digital that I have an issue with. Well, not necessarily an issue, but I find a sticking point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking with you today. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you.
We will now be transported into the colourful world of tattoos as we go to a sailor's grave to learn more about one of Belfast's most established tattoo shops. Just a warning, there are needles used in this next clip, so viewer discretion is advised.
From its intriguing origins rooted in ancient customs to its modern-day resurgence, join us as we uncover the vibrant tapestry of styles, stories and techniques that have shaped this dynamic art form. How did you first become interested in tattooing, and what inspired you to pursue it as a career?
So loads of the bands and artists and stuff that I was interested in had tattoos. I always liked them. I always wanted to be covered in tattoos, but I didn't quite make the connection quick enough that I could actually do that as a career. I didn't want to go to university, so it kind of gave me the kick to figure out how to get into it and what way to go about it.
Have you noticed any significant shifts in cultural attitudes towards tattooing over the years, and how have these influenced your work as an artist?
Yeah, When I first started, there were still quite a lot of people that didn't have even one single tattoo. It's still, while it was getting more popular, it still wasn't super common. Even to be heavily tattooed was kind of a little bit taboo. So definitely has changed massively over the years.
Social media, particularly platforms like Instagram, have played a pivotal role in destigmatising tattoos by featuring talented tattoo artists and their remarkable artwork. Have you experienced challenges or obstacles in your career, particularly in reference to social perception or legal regulations surrounding tattooing?
In terms of legal regulations, not so much. In terms of challenges, a lot. Again, it's not... when I first started, it wasn't like a super welcoming profession. More so now. And I think that's to do with people wanting to see that change. Especially I was quite young when I started tattooing. And being a woman in the industry at the time was less common. So that was a little difficult. So we've come across like some like uncomfortable situations, but at the same time, I feel like I kind of needed that to not toughen me up, but like be aware of what needed to change.
Do you consider your organisation to be an equal opportunities employer, fostering diversity, fairness and inclusivity within the workplace?
Yeah, I would honestly say our shop's one of the most inclusive. That was a massive thing for us, to be accessible for everybody, which is why we have a ground floor shop. We have always had a ground floor shop. And just for it to be a safe, comfortable environment where people feel that they can come in and ask for what they want. Like sometimes it's hard enough to come into a place where you're maybe not the most comfortable and be like completely able to ask for what it is that you're wanting without feeling silly or like a little uncomfortable. We're from all over and we're all different types of people, but I think our relationship with each other really makes that vibe come together.
We are reminded that tattoos are not merely skin deep, but a profound reflection of human expression, identity and creativity. So let the stories that are inked upon our bodies continue to inspire, provoke and unite us in the colourful tapestry of our shared human experience.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am this close to getting a tattoo. And I mean it, but I just don't have the time right now. Let's welcome our next guest, Jamie, who loves tattoos. Hello, Jamie, how are we today?
Fantastic.
Good, good. Do you think that social media has made tattoos become less taboo?
Yeah, of course. Things like Pinterest and Instagram becoming more kind of widespread, and more tattoo studios kind of getting their name out there and whatnot. People posting their tattoos and whatever. It's kind of removed the stigma, so to speak, around tattoos.
And do you feel that the stigma will continue, or do you feel like it's becoming less and less every year, like decreasing almost?
Every year it is becoming less and less, I would say, even compared to, say, 5 years ago. It was a lot more taboo kind of around the city and neighbourhoods and whatnot, but nowadays it's, you know, it's very hard to come across someone with no tattoos.
And tell me this, have you become a victim of prejudice with your tattoos?
Once or twice, like walking through shops and stuff, I'll get like the odd dirty look from an old lady, but other than that, nothing really.
Yeah. With regards to getting tattooed, have you ever felt awkward asking for a specific one?
Yeah, the most awkward part is asking for different placement. Just kind of being like, oh, can you move it up an inch or two or whatever, but yeah, nice. Not too bad.
And the tattoo itself, like, was there anything with, you know, you have a heart there on your forearm. So was it too high up, or was it
too close to the wrist?
Too close to your wrist, yeah.
But it's like you kind of do have to have it perfect, so it's something you just kind of have to ask.
And could you describe what your tattoos mean to you?
One in particular?
Well, anyone at all.
Yeah, the heart. Wear my heart on my sleeve. Very emotive person. But yeah, the rest of them honestly don't really have a meaning. I just got them because they look cool.
Well, that's very interesting. I didn't actually click onto the heart on your sleeve, wearing your heart on your sleeve. I think that's pretty cool.
Thanks.
It's very, very interesting indeed. What would have inspired your favourite tattoo? If you have one, what was your inspiration for it?
Honestly, probably that one. It didn't originally have that meaning, but it was kind of a nice coincidence after I got it.
And when getting tattoos, do you choose a particular artist, or would you like to go to different ones to experiment with different styles?
Yeah, so I do plan in the future on going to different studios, meeting different artists, whatnot. But all my tattoos so far have been the same place, Sailor's Grave, same artist, Matt King. Shout out.
Shout out for Matt King. And because you like him so much, do you consistently, when you're thinking of another idea or a design in mind, do you always think of him?
Absolutely, he's the first person that I'll send ideas to, get a rating for price-wise and stuff, and yeah.
And for somebody who's getting their first tattoo, what advice would you give to them?
Don't let anyone kind of influence your choice on whatever tattoo you want to get. You know, it's your body. It's one of the best forms of expression, self-expression that someone can have. And yeah, just do what you like and never get a relationship name tattooed on you.
Oh dear goodness, no, I couldn't imagine. And what influences your design and placement?
Probably Pinterest, to be honest. I'll look up, you know, a certain type of tattoo, like a heart tattoo, and then forearm, and I'll just kind of see different photos, see different designs, and I'll maybe try to mirror that in some way, or if I don't really like it, I can kind of think of somewhere else to put it.
And with more tattoos, have you got anything booked yet, or have you got any ideas? If so, what are we getting? Where are we putting it?
Yeah, so I've only ever gotten this arm tattooed so far, but my right forearm I'm getting tattooed next week. It's a traditional style crawling panther.
That'll be class. So I see here that you have patchwork on this arm. Are you going to continue the patchwork on the other, or do you think it'll be a full gradient sleeve? What are we thinking?
No, I'm definitely going to stick with the patchwork. I want to look like a sticker book.
Oh my goodness, that is brilliant.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of full sleeves, so.
And have you got a tattoo that you regret?
Not yet. I'm too young. They're too fresh for me to regret them yet. But I mean, I'd say they're fairly timeless designs, so I can't see myself regretting any of them.
Yeah. Well, you're really not helping me. I have no time to get a tattoo, and now you really want me to get a tattoo. You're really influencing me to go and get one. But Jamie, thank you so much for expressing all of your tattoos and your new ideas with us. You've been absolutely brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Last week, I ventured out to Queen's University to speak with Jamie Finnegan, the founder of Student Comps, a social media organisation that allows people to win a range of unbelievable prizes. Let's head back to uncover more.
From being forced into remote learning, unable to sit exams due to COVID and the consistent strikes, it is safe to say that the 2020s have not been fair to students, and it doesn't look like things are going to get any better. According to 2019 studies, it shows that there's been an influx of students by over 400,000 and a decrease of homes by 19,000, leading them to not being able to pay for their basic necessities. However, there are organisations out there that help students on these matters. Student Comps is a social media based organisation that organises fundraisers, charities and competitions to give students a chance to win cash prizes, money off their rent, all for the price of a coffee. Let's go and find out more from Jamie about what he does and what his role is with Student Comps. So Jamie, tell us a bit about yourself and your role in Student Comps.
Well, my name is Jamie Finnegan and I'm the founder and managing director of Student Comps. We launched Student Comps back in December 2021, and basically the aim of it was to give students the chance to win prizes, all for the price of a coffee, I'd say. These prizes have included to date rent from 1 month to a year, bills competitions, gadgets like iPads, watches, phones and stuff, and then just things that students like cash and gift cards and stuff like that.
As a former student yourself, why was it important that you started this organisation, mainly aiming at students?
Being a student for 4 years here at Queen's, as every student sees, you see the students, your friends, and struggles of just living a relatively comfortable life as a student. And I know living life as a student isn't supposed to be comfortable in the slightest, but when I'd thought of the idea, I was like, why not give chance to students to maybe make that life a wee bit easier?
So what do you hope to achieve with this organisation?
It's the age-old question. So it is. I think as we're recording this, I'd like to think Student Comps is coming out of its like baby stages, and I know it's 2 years on, and it takes that length of time to come out of those baby stages. Where, at the minute, the competitions are small enough. For the most part, it's like 150 cash or a month's rent, and to most that makes a lot of difference to people. But we're looking to take it to a whole new level, and I think when we done our biggest competition last year, which was a year's rent or £1,500. It was so big it got people talking, and it made the students of Belfast realise, they're serious about this competition site and this business, and it just begs the question where we want to bring it next.
Where can people find more information about Student Comps?
The Instagram, we're very, very active on Instagram. We're ramming stories down people's throats, and we've been told we have a good social media presence.
We wish you all the best with your endeavours and with what you do in the near future.
That's brilliant, really appreciate it.
With the constant rise of inflation and the cost of living crisis, it's no wonder that students are struggling to pay for basic necessities. With special thanks to Jamie and Student Comps, students now have that extra bit of helping hand when it comes to paying bills and buying those basic necessities.
My apologies, I called Student Comps a charity rather than an organisation. If you struggle with gambling, please visit the website below for support. The cost of living crisis has affected everyone across the UK and Ireland, especially students as they try and navigate life on a budget. I'm joined by Sarah, who is a resident of the accommodation here at Ulster. Hello Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So what made you decide to live in accommodation?
Yeah, so living in a student accommodation was sort of a last minute decision. I never actually could make up my mind of whether I was going to go to university or not, but when I did, straight away student accommodation was the answer. I knew it was going to be a big transition moving out of home and not having all my family around me, but I thought, with the security and all your bills in one, student accommodation would have been the best option.
And to talk about the transition of moving from home, how was that for you, moving from home to somewhere completely new?
Yeah, it was very strange, Emma. When you've lived with people your whole life and then suddenly you're thrown into this new world where you're living with strangers and having to fend for yourself, it can be quite daunting. But it's a challenge that we all need to take part in to start our adult life. You have to sort of get out there and talk to people. Do stuff for yourself, shopping, bills, budgeting, all that sort of thing. It's great life experience that you need to do at some point.
Most definitely. Like, you become an adult then.
Yeah.
And what would you say would be a common misconception about living in accommodation?
I definitely heard some horror stories, the parties all night and dirty kitchens, but it's not as bad as you'd think. There are obviously the odd party or two, and you maybe get a bit annoyed at your flatmate for leaving toast crumbs on the counter, but you just work through that. If you all work together in your wee flat to do different cleaning schedules and stuff, it's not that bad. It's just like you're living with people that are the same as you, people that have moved away from home. Or all just learning to fend for ourselves, and it's great to just have that company as well in your flat.
And is there anything that you struggle with or worry about when living in accommodation?
Oh, yeah, definitely money. Money would be the big home hitter. I work 3 jobs, and even still I find it hard to pay my rent at the end of each month. With the cost of everything at the minute, it's getting really hard to not worry or have to budget every part of your life to be able to afford your rent.
Yeah, and especially for a student as well, 3 jobs as well as university, that must be really tough. What's that like?
It is very tough. Yeah, definitely. Having to concentrate on studies as well as juggle making enough money to live off can be hard. One thing has to sort of give, and it can't really be the uni.
Yeah. And before coming here today, did you know about Student Comps previously?
No, I'd never heard about them before. Yeah.
And now listening to them in our previous clip there, are you more enticed to buy tickets and enter these wee fundraisers and these little prize draws?
Absolutely. For the price of a coffee, I definitely would be up for winning a month worth of rent. Yeah, it sounded like an incredible opportunity to take part of. I think I'd be stupid for not taking part in it.
Oh yeah. And do you think these are important for students? You know, these, like for the likes of organisations like Student Comps, would these be important to help them?
Definitely, we need to feel like someone's trying to help us in the big bad world. You know, it's great. Being able, like, you know, if you put that little bit of money towards it, gives you a bit of hope. You're thinking, oh, I might be able to win $1,000 or win this bit of rent. If it just puts a bit of pressure off, I think gives you a bit of something to look forward to. Most
definitely. And tell me this, do you think the government should be doing more to help students with their rent?
Absolutely, I do, yeah. It's scary, the price everything has got to at the moment. I went into Centra and I saw a pack of kitchen rolls, 2-pack, for £6.25. Yeah, the price for everything obviously is shot up at the minute. And when we're trying to budget everything, it's hard to be looking for the essentials while also keeping money for stuff that you like want to do, activities in your free time.
Mm-hmm. How are you supposed to live your life as a student when, you know, basic necessities are costing you like £6.25p? You know, I'm sure that's very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I know, you know, you sort of have to grow up a bit in that sense, and if you didn't sort of plan what you're going to be spending your money on, you could end up, you know, missing out on things that you know you would have been able to do before, not being able to go out and see friends, not being able to eat. You have to sort of, it shouldn't be a thing that you have to choose between. It should be something that you don't have to think about as a student when you're working so hard in your degree.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that you say, Sarah, and what you're telling me and referring to me about what living in, you know, accommodation is like, and especially how the government should be helping and how you budget with 3 jobs. But thank you so much for opening yourself up and talking to me about, you know, what student accommodation is like. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our guests for joining us today. From the evolution of using film to tattoos as an art form and the organisation Student Comps, we truly have been on a journey. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.